Welcome back, everyone, to Talk Your Abs Off. I'm super excited for today. It is my very first Q&A episode. I'm answering your fitness questions, and I'm doing this today for this episode because I'm actually celebrating 2 years of Endorphin Wellness, which is my business, which sponsors this podcast. So yeah, super excited about that. Well, the day that this comes out, it's going to be May 1st, and May 2nd is actually my business's anniversary, so we're celebrating a little early with a special Q&A episode. And I wanted to just thank everyone, the community, my clients, and all of you listeners for being part of this journey with me. I can't believe that it's been 2 years that I've been on my own doing personal training, running online programs, and I could just not be more grateful for all of you. And this podcast started 8 months ago as just a part of the business, an extension of the business to help people find joy in movement and find what works for them that they can keep up for the rest of their lives. So I hope that you have taken something away so far from the few episodes that we've put out, and I hope that it continues to provide something that resonates with you. And today it hopefully will, because I'm answering your questions, the questions that you submitted, questions by listeners or people on my social media as well. So yeah, I think we should just jump right into it. Have a lot of good questions, and I'm super excited to talk about them. My first question came in my fan mail, which is something that you can access. You can send me a message anytime right from my podcast show notes. There's a little button that says send me a text. So this is one of those. This is a fan mail question, and it says, I've heard the terms micros and macros in relation to foods. What are they? What is their purpose? And how do I incorporate them into my daily food intake? That is a super good question. Macros and micros are thrown around a lot in the fitness industry, and it can get kind of confusing because no one really explains them unless you ask. So the simple definition, macronutrients are your proteins, carbs, and fats in your daily diet. And micronutrients are things like vitamins and minerals. So the smaller things that make up things like your fruits and vegetables or any supplements, things like that. The micros, the vitamins and minerals, are super important. They play crucial roles in your energy metabolism, in muscle function, bone health, immune function, and overall athletic performance if you're exercising. Macros, or the macronutrients, which is the protein, carbs, and fat, provides the body with energy, building and repairing tissues, and supporting various bodily functions. So they're actually the main building blocks of a healthy diet, and you need larger quantities of these compared to micronutrients. So the macronutrients, I'll give some examples. So your protein is going to be lean meats, fish, beans, different protein supplements, eggs. You can get protein through a lot of different things, but the protein is really what supports your muscle while you're exercising. It's what helps you build muscle, keep the muscle that you have. It's just really important for overall health. All the macronutrients are. So I'll just leave it at that. Your carbs, your carbohydrates. So that's your grains, your breads, rice, all of those things, pastas. And those are really helpful just for helping your body to just function day to day, right? So a lot of times people cut out carbs, which is bad. We never want to cut out a single macronutrient or micronutrient for that matter. But your brain actually uses carbs, a significant amount of carbs, to function. So you want to be able to have a successful day at work. You shouldn't be skipping out on your carbs because that's going to be the majority of what is helping you function. And then the last macro is going to be your fat, which is really helpful. It helps to insulate the body. It helps to protect your organs. It's a source of energy that your body pulls from. It also helps regulating hormones and helps the body to absorb different fat-soluble vitamins, which are going to be some of those micronutrients. So fats, the good fats, are also really good for your brain health as well. So again, like I mentioned, we really don't want to cut out fats either. So when a lot of times people will say, oh, I'm cutting out all fat. Well, we don't want to do that because fat is super helpful in helping us, in helping our bodies do what they need to do. It helps our skin, it helps our organs, it helps all these different things, so we don't want to cut it out. But what we do want to do is make sure that we're eating the right kinds of fat. So things like avocados, nuts, the places where the good fat is, as opposed to the saturated fats that you can find in a lot of processed foods and fast foods. So we talked about micronutrients. So those micronutrients are going to be vitamin D, calcium, B vitamins, vitamin K, all of these things that are found in many different places, right? So we can find these vitamins and minerals a lot of times in fruits and vegetables is super important, super helpful. You can also find a lot of micronutrients in whole grains, lean meats, and you can also supplement a lot of times if you find that you're not getting enough of a certain vitamin or mineral in your daily routine. Obviously, dairy products are going to have a lot of calcium, vitamin D, some B vitamins. Nuts and seeds are going to have magnesium, zinc, vitamin E. So those are just a few examples. I hope that helps answer that question a little bit. When we want to focus on our micros and our macros, it's really about just eating a lot of whole foods and as healthy of a diet as we can. A lot of fruits, a lot of vegetables, and the lean meats and things. Yeah, basically just a good whole food diet. If you're eating whole foods, you're more likely to be getting all of these vitamins, minerals, and macronutrients that you need. However, sometimes people do lack these, especially the micronutrients, and can supplement, and there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you can consult with your doctor and make sure that you both agree on what's best for your body, and you can go from there. The second question is also relating to nutrition a little bit. Now, I'm not a nutritionist. I don't have a degree, a certification in nutrition, but these are some pretty basic nutrition questions that I feel comfortable answering based off of what I learned in school and with my certifications. So this question is really interesting. It says, I would love to hear how you incorporate more protein into your daily plan. I've reached my peak with eggs, cheese, salmon, peanut butter, etc. I totally understand that. There was a time when I was trying to put on muscle. This was, I think, during my internship. I was right out of college or maybe shortly after, and I was trying to put on muscle. And when you need to put on muscle or put on weight, you want to eat a lot of protein, right? So I was trying to eat maybe like 2 or 3 chicken breasts a day, maybe 3 chicken breasts a day, which is a lot of chicken. It is absolutely disgusting. I was so sick of chicken. And honestly, to this day, I still don't love eating chicken. I will find other protein sources to try and reach my protein goals that are not chicken because I just ate way too much of it. And I'm sure there are people out there who can relate because a lot of times when people are looking at protein, or when they're looking to lose weight or be put on a food plan, a lot of times people will say, oh, you just need your chicken, rice, and broccoli for, every day and you'll be fine. Well, yeah, you'll be fine, but you'll also probably get bored of that meal. I know I did. And now I find other ways to incorporate protein into my day. So if you've reached your peak with the eggs, cheese, salmon, peanut butter, things like that, the first thing that I'll say is there are 2 ways that you can go with this. So you can stick to the more natural lean proteins. So that's going to be things like ground turkey, ground chicken, turkey in general. But a lot of those lean meats, things like salmon, those really just those leaner meats, the less fatty meats. So some fish is really fatty, some meats are really fatty. So you kind of just have to decide what direction you want to go. And the fattier meats aren't bad as long as you're taking into account what you're eating throughout the rest of the day and if you're tracking your macros, if it fits into what you're looking for. Now, another option is you can supplement your protein. So quite a few people will do protein shakes, they'll do protein bars, they'll add in different supplements, collagens, branched chain amino acids, things like that to beef up their protein, beef up their protein a little bit. And so you can kind of decide, or you can do a mix of both. You can have the natural lean protein, or you can supplement, and you can do a little bit of both because it can be really hard to reach your protein goals on just one of those things alone. You can drink 4 protein shakes a day to reach your protein, but that could get old. And you could also eat 3 chicken breasts a day to reach your protein goals, but that could also get old. So you have to be creative with it. Some of my favorites are low-fat cottage cheese, sliced turkey. I do use protein powder and some protein specific, like protein bars from certain brands. High protein Greek yogurt and ground chicken and turkey are my go-tos. So if that helps you to broaden your horizons a little bit and try some other protein options, I would encourage you to, yeah, just try, see what works for you. Try out the different protein bars, try out the different protein shakes. You'll find one that you like and that you can stick with. And then when the time comes, maybe you're fed up with it, you can try another brand. There's so many brands, there's so many different types of protein foods that you can try. You can do beans, you can do nuts, things like that as well. Just watching the fat content on the nuts and maybe starting with serving sizes and maybe tracking as you go there. But again, there are a lot of options. The next question starts to get into our exercise routines, which I love. So this is a really good question. Can my body weight exercise routine, which is Pilates, count as resistance training? My muscles feel so strong after, and my at-home Pilates regimen is something I stick to better than going to the gym to lift. Do I get at least some of the benefits of strength training? In the short answer, yes. Resistance training is defined as exercises that involve muscles working against an external force to improve strength, endurance, and muscle mass. So this can come from weights, resistance bands, body weight. So yeah, that's definitely still counts as resistance training, especially because a lot of times it is body weight or maybe adding a little bit of weight. So where Pilates fits into that, it can really depend on the intensity, the progressive overload, how you are progressing, if you're, adding repetitions, if you're using different angles for different exercises, if you're using resistance bands, anything like that. But even just body weight alone, you're still getting a lot of benefit. And Pilates in itself brings a lot of benefits, things like core strength, muscular endurance, mobility, flexibility. So there are a lot of positives to Pilates. And actually, I don't think I have a lot of negatives, because just because you aren't lifting super heavy weights doesn't mean that the workout is less valid. You have found a way to exercise that fits into your home and your schedule, and I think that's fabulous. The only notes that I would make about it is making sure that you're still getting that protein as if you were lifting heavy weights. It's still so important to make sure that you're getting that protein in your diet and eating an overall healthy diet. So whatever exercise you want to do is perfectly acceptable, and you will still get benefits. I think that some people in the fitness industry might disagree with that, because people are pretty set in their ways with certain things. And I also think that Pilates it's not so much a new thing, but it's kind of a trendy thing. So some personal trainers, some people in the fitness industry might not think that it's what people should be doing. However, you are still using resistance. It is absolutely still difficult. I've heard the stories of people doing Pilates, and I'll be honest, I've never tried it, except for maybe some core exercises that I've tried. And I think that it looks so hard, and I do want to try it, but I'm scared. I will I will just say that, because I lift heavy weights, and I'm afraid that if I get on a Pilates reformer or try Pilates, that I'm not going to be able to lift it. But that's just a fear that I have to get over, and one of these days I am going to go down to a studio down the road and give it a shot, because I think that it would be fun. I've heard really good things. The people who do it really enjoy it, which I absolutely love to hear. My most important note about this is Pilates is something that you'll stick to and that you enjoy, which means that it is the best workout for you in this moment. Your likes can change, so it might not always be Pilates, but do what you like now and go with what your body is feeling and what you enjoy, especially if it's accessible for you to do from home. Some people don't have time to go to a gym, and that's why I think YouTube and different subscription services have really offered a really great variety for still getting your workouts in from home. So thanks for submitting that question. It was a really good one. The next one is, we're still talking about exercise here, and this question says, what core exercises can I do that don't require me to get on the floor? This is a really good one. Sometimes getting up and down off the floor can be harder, depending on your age, depending on your abilities. It can be challenging. So I just wanted to give a few examples, because any good personal trainer should be able to give you options. So if you don't want to get on the floor and do a plank, we have 1,000 other things that you can do that you might enjoy more and that you can continue on your own. So if you're looking for some maybe standing core exercises that use a cable machine, I have a few for you. So We can start with weighted overhead marches. So that's just holding 1 or 2 dumbbells up above your head, engaging your core, pulling your belly button in, and then slowly marching the knees, engaging through the core. I actually just did this with some of my strength training class today, and it was a really good core workout that we could do standing while we were alternating it with another standing exercise. Along the same lines, you can do a single arm overhead march. So instead of holding both arms overhead, you can just hold one. And what that's going to do is it's going to work on your balance a little bit more. It's also going to work on those obliques, right? Well, it's working on your entire core, but those stabilization muscles in the core, you're really targeting that because you're only loaded on one side. Another exercise that you can do is a cable core rotation. So with a cable machine, if you drop the attachment. So if you put the like a handle attachment where you can just grab onto one of the handles, drop it down to about a little bit lower than maybe shoulder height or about shoulder height, and then stepping your feet apart, you'll stand with the cable next to you, kind of on one side, and then take a step to the outside to give yourself a little bit of space. You'll take both arms, straighten them out to the side, reaching towards the cable machine. Put it on a very light weight to start because it's going to be challenging. And then all you're going to do is keeping your arms straight. You'll pull the belly button in, rotate those arms all the way straight to the other side, keeping your hips forward. Legs don't move. You're just rotating with your core here. So then you'll do however many reps you want to do on that side. You'll bring it all the way over to one side and then let the hands and arms come all the way back to that cable machine. And so you'll pull away from the cable machine and then rotate back, and then you'll switch and do the other side. You can also do dumbbell side bends, so holding dumbbells down by your sides, bending just at the waist, not popping the hips out to the side, but just letting one dumbbell slide down your leg, right to maybe about your knee, maybe a little bit lower, depending on where you're comfortable. And then engaging through the opposite side, through those obliques, you'll pull the belly button in, squeeze, and then pull that weight all the way back up to standing. And then you can do the same thing on the other side. You can alternate back and forth, or you can do the reps on one side, and then the reps on the other side. You can also do farmer's carries. So these are good for more than just the core. You can work the shoulders, you work the whole body with this one. Holding onto 2 heavy dumbbells by your sides, rolling the shoulders down and back, and then walking a certain amount of length, whatever you want to walk. And it's going to feel challenging. It's like carrying kind of 2 really heavy suitcases almost. And as you're walking, bracing your core, making sure it's engaged, and not letting any of your muscles be all loosey-goosey. Just make sure that everything is tight and under control. And just a couple more if you're still looking for some options. We have a wood chop. So that one is holding onto one dumbbell and coming down into a squat position. You'll let that weight come down, let's say to the outside of the left thigh as you come down to that squat. As you stand, you'll rotate, you'll bring that dumbbell up diagonally, up to the opposite side, up above the shoulder. So it's kind of like you're chopping wood at an angle. So that one's a pretty easy one that you can incorporate. And then the last one is maybe a standing bicycle crunch. So if you're standing up tall, hands behind the ears so your elbows are up, you can take opposite elbow to opposite knee as you lift that knee for kind of a high knee. And you can get that rotation. You can switch side to side for that one. So you have a few options there. You can make your own little mini core circuit with some of those exercises that you don't have to get on the floor for. All right, we have another really good workout question. So this one says, I'm lost on what to do and how to structure my workouts. I feel like I mindlessly go through workouts until I'm out of time and then leave feeling like I didn't get a good workout in because I just did random movements. What is the most effective tweak to laying out your workout so you leave every time feeling satisfied? I think a lot of people feel this way, honestly, because it can be difficult to go into the gym and see all of the different equipment options and see what other people are doing and wonder what's going to be best for you and your body. So if I'm looking to make a workout for myself that leaves me feeling satisfied, I'm going to start first by looking at my goal. What is my goal? Am I looking to lose weight? Am I looking to build muscle? Am I looking to build up certain muscles? Are there certain muscle groups that I want to specifically target? Am I weak in any areas that I want to work on, etc.? From knowing what my goals are, I then want to create a plan. So writing down, you write down your goals first and you see your goals, and then maybe next to it, you can put, the plan on how you'd like to achieve that. So let's say you want to lose weight. You want to do in my opinion, but you can do whatever would work best for you. A little mix of strength and cardio. So that could be, I plan to do 15 minutes on the treadmill, and then I'd like to do 30 minutes of a strength training workout. Okay, great, you have that planned. And now looking at the strength training portion, what exercises do you want to do? What exercises do you enjoy doing? Which ones do you absolutely hate? So that's a question that I ask my clients a lot is, what exercises do you not like? Because I don't want to make anyone do something that they don't enjoy. I want people to find joy in movement, to want to work out. And if someone doesn't like one exercise, let's say someone doesn't like doing lunges, there are plenty of other exercises that you can do for yourself that you might like a little bit better, whether it's using a piece of equipment like a machine or doing squats or doing something else. You have some options here. Maybe making like these are the exercises that I like, these are the exercises that I don't like, and then kind of, piecing that together from there. Maybe Googling, exercises for certain muscle groups. If you want to target your triceps, Googling some tricep exercises and seeing which ones you might like, or bicep exercises or back exercises. So just really making it specific to what you want to work on. Once you have the exercises down that you want to do, it's really important to figure out the sets and the repetitions that you want to do based on your goals. And this can be kind of tricky. A lot of times people will start out, 3 sets of 10, and not even just starting out. That's a really good rep and set range for a lot of people's goals. So you can start there. You can start 2 sets of 10. You can start with really light weights. That's what I would say is, if you're going to start with light weights so that, you're not hurting yourself. You're making sure that your form is good before you try to do anything crazy. So once you have decided on your sets and repetitions, you've pretty much planned out your whole workout already from there. So what I do with my workouts is I do 2 of the same full body workouts each week, because I don't really want to have to think about what I'm doing. I plan these workouts ahead of time. I don't want to have to think too much. My executive function sometimes just isn't fully there, and I want something easy. I want to know what I'm going into. And so I tend to have the same types of workouts for a certain period of time, maybe about 3 months, and then I'll change it to still continue on progressing with my goals. Actually, if you are looking to try to plan a workout for yourself, I have a really good free resource that I would love to offer to anybody who's looking to maybe create a plan for themselves. On my website, if you go to Endorphin Wellness, that's ENDORFIN, wellness.com/free-resources, I have a free workout planner that you can download. It's a PDF. You can print out as many pages as you want. It actually has a workout index, so you can pick from the workouts or the exercises that I have listed, which link to my YouTube videos, so you can see the form and make sure that your form is done correctly. You can decide on your sets and reps. It's got a habit tracker if you want to track your habits, if you want to track your food, things like that. So I would say that that's a really good place to start to make sure that you have all of the components that you're looking for in your workout. My last question here, and this one is pretty specific, so I'll explain it in a little bit more depth because some people might not know that this is even a thing. But the question is, why do people alternate grip on a deadlift? So when people are deadlifting with a barbell with big weights on the side, there is something called a standard grip, or you can do it with an alternate or a mixed grip. So standard grip, your palms are your overhand on the bar, both hands are on the bar, thumbs pointing in. So the standard grip is really great for the forearms, helps strengthen the forearms as you're lifting that really heavy weight. However, heavy weights can get really heavy to hold. Like, it makes sense. It can be really hard to control a barbell that has, 300 pounds of weight on it for some people. I mean, for me, that would be crazy. I can't even get to like 150 without having to do an alternate mixed grip. But what the mixed grip does is you have one hand that's overhand with your thumb facing in towards you, and the other hand would come like underhand so that your thumb is pointing out to the side. So one hand is overhand, one hand is underhand. If you look on YouTube, this is what it's going to look like if you need a visual. But what that does is that prevents the bar from rolling in your hands, and it also allows you to lift heavier weight. So for example, if I wanted to deadlift 150 pounds, I would need to mixed grip because number one, my forearms probably aren't strong enough. I know they're not strong enough. And I would want to do that just to make it a little bit easier for me to control that weight as I lift it. Now, some people will, switch which hands they're going to hold that mixed grip. Some people prefer one over the other. It's totally up to you. And then one other thing when it comes to lifting really heavy barbell weights especially for a deadlift, is you can also use what's called lifting straps. So if you're having trouble with that grip, lifting straps can be really beneficial. You can get them off of Amazon. I'll link a couple down in the show notes if you're looking for some specifically. But it goes around your wrist, and then it has a strap that is attached to it that you can wrap around either the dumbbells or the bar. And it kind of takes some of that weight off of your forearms and just helps you to hold that weight and lets your legs do the work. So anyways, that's a little bit, it's a very specific question about the mixed grip on a deadlift. If you have any questions about it, I'd love to talk about it more. But yeah, those are all of the questions that I got. I thought those were fantastic questions, and I hope that it was helpful for all of you to maybe learn something new. And you're always welcome to submit questions. Now that I have this fan mail link put into my show notes, it makes it way easier for you to be able to submit questions that I can address in future episodes. So it doesn't have to be just for a Q&A episode. It can be for any episode. And I would love to answer your questions, maybe give you a shout out if you don't want to stay anonymous. I'd love to do that too. So I wanted to thank you all so much for just being here with me during this podcast and over the past 8 months of the podcast, and also over the past 2 years of my business, if you've been chugging along with me since then. So looking forward to the future. The next episode is going to be really exciting. I have a special guest. All of my guests are special, but this one is extra special to me. I'll tease you with this. It is a family member, and I am really excited about this one. So tune in on May 15th for that episode. And I hope that you can take something away from this episode that helps you live a little bit more of a happier and healthier life. Thank you. See you on the next episode.